Sawadee krap. Welcome to Muay Thai AI. In this episode, you will learn the Muay Thai stance. Firstly, let me introduce you to my models Day and Dev. They'll be assisting me during this series. As you can see, they are both standing strangely. Not like normal people would stand, but that's because they are in their stance. If you take a good look at Day, you will notice that she has her left foot back, whereas Dev has his right. Interesting. As human beings, we have 2 feet, and therefore there are only 3 positions we can be in: right foot back, left foot back, or both feet side by side. The question is, which position should you take? As a right-hander, you should have your right foot back. This is called an orthodox stance. As a left-hander, you should have your left foot back, which is called a southpaw stance. Therefore, Day is southpaw and Dev is orthodox. They are facing off like opponents at this time, and you will notice that their back heel is off the ground and both knees are bent. Dev's nose is pointing forward toward Day and her nose is pointing to him. Also pay attention to their feet. Both feet are pointing forward toward each other. Both hands are up above the eyebrow, and in Day's case, her left shoulder is back and right shoulder forward, whereas Dev is the opposite. His left shoulder is forward and right is back. The reason is that there is added power to the strike when the strong side is behind. However, if you put the strong side in front, the strikes will be weaker. Think of it like this. The limbs in front are to set up the strikes from behind, which lead to the knockouts. It's a good idea to make the knockout strike as powerful as possible. In conclusion, if you are right-handed, put your right foot back. If you're left-handed, put your left back. Now that you understand how and why you should stand, let's explore the width and length of the feet. Between both Dev's and Day's feet, there is a cross. This cross forms 4 blocks. These 4 blocks are 4/4 of 1 square. You will notice that their feet occupy 1 block from in front and 1 from the back. This way, their feet are not in a straight line. It is diagonal. To know the exact distance your feet should be, first stand sideways with your feet shoulder width apart. Then drag the appropriate foot back the same distance. In this position, if a 90-degree angle is drawn at the middle of both feet, another block will form within the square. Also, ensure that the back heel is off the ground, your toes are pointing forward, and your weight distribution is 50% on each leg. This is the geometry of the stance. Now, you can never get it wrong. Of course, there are slight variations. A few centimeters here or there you can get away with, and for specific techniques a shorter, longer, or wider stance is required, but we'll get into that later in this series. However, all basic techniques flow from this position, and it is the best position to start with. The shoulder position mimics the legs. As for the left-hander, the left shoulder is back and the right is forward. Whereas for the right-hander, the right shoulder is back and the left is forward. For both stance, both hands are close to the eyebrows with a closed fist, the elbows in line with the ribs. There are a few variations for the hand position. I'll cover 3 in this video as they are the most used. The first one I teach on the first session. There you see both Dev and Day are holding their hands above the eyebrow and their wrists are turned so the knuckles are close to the face. The inside of the wrist is close to the eyebrow. The hands are strategically placed for quick defense and to generate more power for the punches. In the second position, you see both Dev and Day with their hands a bit more out with the palms facing forward. You should take note that their hands are in line with the eyebrow and the elbows in line with the ribs. In this position, the punches are weaker, but the check defense and elbow strikes are more accessible. This form is harder to get and is taught later on. The third position is where the reverse hand stays close to the eyebrow and the lead hand comes forward slightly, as you can see with Dev and Day. The hand position is adopted when using the sword and shield tactic, which you will learn later in the series. This stance, in all its variations, is called the front stance. There is another variation of the front stance called the cat stance, or second stance as I like to call it. This is where 90% of your weight is on the back foot and the heel is flat while the lead foot taps on the ground. This stance is very common in Muay Thai and is mainly used for countering, but we'll get more into that as the series progresses. The side stance, also known as the horse stance, is very popular in other martial arts like karate or kung fu and so on. It is used in Muay Thai, but it isn't a stance that we adopt or settle in. Instead, it is a transition stance that we use to deliver the appropriate techniques and return to the front stance. This is like for side kick, hook kick, and back fists, spinning elbows, to name a few, which of course we'll come to later on. The final thing that makes the front stance a Muay Thai stance is a perpetual motion that we call marching. Here you see Day and Dev lifting their feet in a low march rhythm. This is the Muay Thai stance the correct way. Let's now take a look at it the wrong way. The wrong way to hold a Muay Thai stance. Hands under the eye or low to the chest. The elbows are too wide. Feet are too close to each other or crossing. Feet too wide or twisted in and out. All these are wrong ways. And this is the right way. That's as far as I'll go into the Muay Thai stance for this video, but in later videos I will introduce more adjustments. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video where I'll show you the proper way to throw a jab. If this helps you, surely it'll help someone else, so please share. Thank you for watching.